Hay fever?
Huh?
Hay fever?
No, I just walked out from there, blowing. I don't even feel my back. Fraser. Sorry, let me just get rid of this. Oh dear. What's that? It's not Jurgen Klopp, is it? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. It's bizarre. We often converse.
Everybody good? Yeah.
Hang on. Just... Oh my God. Right.
Sean, it's been an intense season, what with the start and not going as well as you'd like, to the form that you've shown since the turn of the year. But just how much of a relief was it to get that point on Monday night? And whilst mathematically not safe, realistically, I think everybody concedes you've done enough.
Well, virtually there. It's never done till it's actually done, but a super strong position at the minute. Very pleasing, and an award for a very strong second half of the season, which we want to continue, of course, although, tough games coming up including that was a tough game, of course. All of them are. But no, the players deserve a lot of credit, and 28 points out of 16 games is a massive return when you've only got 12 out of 19 in the first half of the season, which is a huge adjustment for, through myself, the staff and the team, that we had to make. But the players deserve the credit because they've carried out everything that's needed to get them points. And, even on the scoring side, I think outscored, I think it was Tottenham, Chelsea, I think Man United as well, in them games. So it's not just been trying to fight our way out of it. We've actually been scoring our way out of it, which is even more pleasing. So a lot of good work done by the players. We still want to finish right. We want to continue the form we've been in, but you have to work hard to keep that form and to keep it right.
How much do you take out of it with this squad as a learning curve as a manager? Because I've come on several occasions this year, and you had the Europa League to deal with, and then you kept saying, look, we're not that far away. I'm seeing a lot in it, but results weren't going your way, and questions were being thrown your way after every game, and then it's like a light switch has been hit, and it's turned around over the last 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, we are one of them sides amongst many in the Premier League who do sit on them fine margins with performances. Open enough, as I've always said, to score goals and tight enough to not concede too many, to try and win, of course, or get points on the board. And the main thing for me in the first half of the season was I spoke of the consistency within a performance. So not just the weekly consistency or bi-weekly consistency, but within a performance. And we had a few performances early season that were very good, say for a half, it might have been 60 minutes. And then not good enough for the rest of the game or parts of the game, and the details that you need to do. And, the simple basic principles of what we've always been about weren't quite there. Our running stats weren't quite there. It's a basic principle of the game, particularly in the Premier League. We all know that. The details within your shape, the details within your habits, they weren't quite as clear-minded as what they had been, as a team to deliver that. Since the turn, our running stats have been superb. I did actually reference that. I said we finish every season here strong. Physically, that is. Obviously, you can't guarantee results, especially in the Premier League, by the way. But physically, our physical stats from Christmas onwards in the Premier League and in the Championship have been very, very strong. So I knew we had that in our locker. I knew we could certainly do better in the second half of the season physically than we had done in the first half of the season. And whatever way you think about it, it is a very, very important factor in the Premier League. Ball in play against touches on the ball, against amount of possession. If you're not in possession, you've got to be doing something, and usually you're running around, and hopefully you're running around in the right areas to be effective, both in and out of possession. I don't think there's one thing that's turned the corner. I think it's a number of different things that we've helped apply, but the players deserve the credit for delivering it. And we want to continue. We do want to continue and see the season out properly. First of all, get it absolutely done, but then apply ourselves to good performances as well.
So it's not just down to a managerial tactical masterclass in the last 3 months then?
No, I don't think I've ever tried to take credit for that. The players are the be-all and end-all for me. It's always the way that worked. I've always talked of trying to guide them to a place that will be good for them, and therefore good for their performances, good for the team, and good for the outcome. I believe in players. It's always about the players first for me. We have to, as a staff and me as a manager, you have to take the good stuff and the knocks. That's part of the role. You sometimes get credit, you sometimes don't. But the credit for me goes through my staff and into the players, because without the players, you can't do what you need to do anyway.
What about Manchester City then? Because everybody's talking about the title race. And in some respects, everyone's talking about, well, Liverpool and Man City will just win out the final 3 games each. But at Turf Moor in recent years, you've been a match for Manchester City. You've had some good results.
Yeah, we've been close with a lot of the big sides. Since Christmas, we beat Tottenham at home, obviously, which is a big result and a big performance. We got a point the other night at Chelsea. We had to work ever so hard for it. We got a point at Manchester United, which could have easily been 3. Still not sure where 5 minutes came from. We have applied ourselves in all games, but particularly, obviously, everyone knows from the turn, we have been in all games. They are a top side, and I say every time we play the top side, it's just because it's a fact as I see it. You have to be on top of your performance levels. You can't shortcut performances against the best. You need the odd bit of luck to go your way. You might need a decision to go your way. But the main thing for me is to focus on the performances. We have to do that. We've got no choice. These are a top side, without doubt. They've proved that. They show it. They show the varying ways they can handle games and situations. On the other hand, they have got the demand that is right in front of them, and that is to go and win the title. We've got a different demand, which is to play well and see the season out in the proper fashion. And that can be a weapon, because you can't call it being relaxed. You can't relax against teams like this. That's quite obvious. You can't relax anywhere in the Premier League. But I think there's just that little tiny bit of freedom that you can think, well, it is about them. The game is about them. There's no two ways. But it's not from us. It's not from us inside of our camp. We want to take on the game. We want to win a game. We want to prove that we can at least challenge the elite end of the market, and never more so in this season, because the top 6 are miles in front. As I did say early season, I felt they would be. They are miles in front this season. Big challenge, but one that we definitely look to take on, and one we're looking forward to taking on, and particularly in front of our home fans.
In your mind then, what are the basic fundamentals that are necessities if you are to take anything from?
You have to defend well. You have to defend well, because the stats show home and away all season they have more possession, they have more productive possession, they're in the final third more often, etc., etc. So you have to defend well as a team. I think we can. I think we have done, especially since the turn. A lot's been a lot better since the turn. Game 19, and you have to do that. You have to take your chances, because you don't always get that many. We showed that at Chelsea the other night. We took 2 good chances. We had a third very good chance, actually, but you don't get that many chances against the elite end of the market. And you have to bring that together with a strong performance, and make it all work. But defending well is a given against the top sides, I think.
Do you expect the atmosphere to be perhaps a little bit more exuberance, relaxed amongst the crowd, given what you've achieved in the last week?
I think rather than, like I say, it's not completely done, but strong way towards it. I think they're an enjoyable 3 games from a fan point of view, because I think most people at Christmas would have thought we needed snookers, to get out of where we were. So, I think now they can enjoy that side of it, take these games on without we hope, without huge statistical anomalies, without them nail-biting moments. I think they still want to win. They should do. We definitely still want to win. And that's regardless of it being Man City. You want to win games. And if you can't win, you get a point. And if you can't get a point, you still play in a manner that can do the things I've just mentioned. And I think that's what we look to do. But we will definitely be ready to take the game on, without a doubt. And
finally, from me, team news going into this game.
Should be okay. Bardo, Phil Bars, it'll probably be around it again. I think Crouch is making good progress, but probably not for this week, as is Aaron Lennon. Probably not for this week, but they're making good progress. Stephen Defoe, longer progress, but still making good progress. So we're hopeful on, probably Bardo's the most obvious one to come back into the group.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tuesday. Morning, Sean.
Morning.
As you mentioned, you've done well against Manchester City at Turf Moor in recent seasons. Is there a blueprint, Sean, for playing against City, or does that constantly shift?
Well, we haven't won all the games, by the way, so that's the first marker. We may have played reasonably well and put doubt in their minds we haven't won. But we did a few years ago, of course, with a 1-0 with Boydie scoring a great goal. But no, I think they'll be aware. I think they know we're in better form than we were early season. Against all sides. I think they probably will be aware of that. They know we're in a good sort of shape mentally and physically. But equally, you've got to remember they're a top side for a reason. They take on everyone. There's no two ways. So I don't think they'll radically change their approach. And their approach will be one of a serious nature. I don't think... I can only imagine, I don't know Pep Guardiola, I can only imagine he's learned from his first season that there's no walk in the park in the Premier League. And then a fantastic campaign last season and going into what could be one this season. So I don't think he'll take us or anyone else lightly. And neither will Liverpool, by the way. They'll be ready for everything that comes their way. And that's what makes them not just their skill level, but that's the mentality that makes them top sides that can win things. On the other hand, there's no naivety to them either. I don't think from remotely they'll be coming to Turf Moor expecting just to walk in the park. I don't think they'll be expecting that sort. And neither will we be looking to allow them that. We'll be looking to fight for everything that we can get and try and win a game.
You hinted at it there, Sean. There are pressures at both ends of the table, obviously, but how impressed are you with the way that both Manchester City and Liverpool, week after week, have kept the pressure on each other?
Well, to be honest, that's their concern. I'm really impressed with my players. Now, they've kept to the challenge because, trust me, the challenge is considerably different when you're down there and you're staring real trouble in the face at 12 points in 19 games. That's as strong a mentality as I've seen out of any group in the Premier League this season to turn that thinking around and to deliver the performances we have. My comment on them would be similar. They're a different kind of challenge. They're at the right end of the market, so to speak, and they're fighting for what they need to do. But having a strong jaw is seen in different ways in the Premier League, and my lot have certainly shown that in the last run of games. But no, I think they're two top sides. I really do. The gap that you've seen this season between them and the others shows the prowess they've had in the Premier League. It's such a fine line between the two, varying reasons why they're both strong. Got to wait and see what happens, but we'll be looking after ourselves. That's what we look to do. We can only look to give a performance. We always try to look to give a performance. We've been doing that. We've got to take that into the next game. It just happens to be a big game against Man City that could mean something different for them, but we're not doing it for any other reason than to look after ourselves and play well for ourselves.
I think I know what you're going to say to this, Sean.
Don't ask it. No point in
Let's see. You'll have seen the Twitter story.
I certainly wouldn't have been hot on Twitter, but what is the Twitter story?
Thousands of Liverpool fans have changed their profile pictures to Ashley Barnes' face.
Okay.
A bit of fun, Sean, or something to be ignored?
Well, I'm absolutely sure that definitely doesn't win you a game, by the way, just to change a picture. If it did, I'd do it myself. But I don't think that's likely to make us win a game. I think it's more of a performance that make us win a game. But no, I'm not. I must make clear, actually, it's important to clear it up. People sort of suggest I'm not into social media. Absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I'm not against social media at all. I just don't use it. And I'm sure at one point in my life I will, because my lad's 16 and my daughter's 13 and a half, and they will be saying, come on, Dad, for goodness sake, get involved, will you? So I'm sure one day I'll be on them sort of feeds and all these social media things, but I don't really have a clue how I know they work, but I don't really have a clue about what's going on them.
Cheers, Sean.
Cheers.
I'd advise you not to be honest. After the season you've had and the struggles that you've had on occasions, the fact that you can be involved in a match where you could have a decisive impact at the top of the table, does that give you a bit of an added thrill?
No, not really. I think the thrill is to beat every team in the Premier League if you can, and that includes the top teams. Of course, it adds more to the after view of a game. If you can beat one of the top sides, it's enjoyable for the club, it's enjoyable for the team and the fans. But no, there's no other reason than to play well. That's our main focus, and to try and take another big 3 points from one of the top sides. I think that's the focus for the team. It's certainly my focus. Done?
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Is it too soon for you to be able to look back on this season and sort of compare it to the others in terms of your personal stuff?
I think it's only too soon because as someone who believes in facts, it's not there yet. I think we all know the stats and all that sort of stuff, but you want it factually achieved, and then I will reflect on it. At the moment, it's fair to say it's been very pleasing the second half of the season, and the first half was a big learning curve for me and the players and the staff. But no, I think over the next couple of weeks, once it's factually achieved that we're in the Premier League, then I think we'll reflect on it and all have a view on what's been learned and what's been hopefully achieved.
It seems quite clear to me that despite your troubles before the turn of the year, that you never actually lost faith.
No, I don't lose faith too easy in myself or my staff or the players. I don't lose faith very easily. I think I'm reasonably calm with what goes on because I know the work that we do. It is a challenge. Every year is a challenge in the Premier League. I say it all the time. When you work on our financial structure and the demands of that, then it is a challenge. I didn't go into this season, because we had a good season last season, I didn't go into it thinking it was just going to be easy, trust me. In fact, I knew it was going to be a tough season. It brings a completely different demand, not just European football, but the exposure of last season, the change in mentality from some outside the camp, let alone inside the camp, looking, going, no, they'll be fine, they'll be this, they'll be that and the other. It's very, very tough in the Premier League, and I don't think there's any gimmies apart from the top six and maybe a handful of others. I think there's a lot of teams like us who every year is a real big challenge to compete in the Premier League and therefore stay in the Premier League. Thank you.
Sean, you mentioned then the point you got at Chelsea, the point you got at Man United. Does that, you've led at Liverpool, you've beaten Spurs at home, you've led at United and Chelsea as well. Does that give you a bit of confidence that perhaps you're getting a little bit closer to competing with the top six on a regular basis?
No, I don't think it is. I think in the sense that we know we can compete. There's a difference between competing and winning. The winning part's the hard part. A lot of teams can compete in this level with playing, even with the, now and again the elite teams turn up when they're absolutely, they're crystal clear in their performances and they wipe teams away. But over the season, they have to earn the right as well. So no, I don't think it's like that.
Fair enough. The team news you mentioned there had Phil Bardsley and Peter Crouch probably not ready. They're two players that are out of contract at the end of the season. Have you got?
No, Bardo's not out of contract.
Oh, is he not?
No, he will be fit for at least in contention for the squad. Crouch is someone we'll monitor, obviously coming back after his injury. Great around the group as he is, and we'll be chatting to him, after the season.
And you've been sort of quite proactive in the last few years in terms of tying down players to longer term deals, likes of Dwight McNeil this season, Ben Mee, James Tarkowski. Is that something that you've got to focus on a little bit now as you get towards the end of the season?
I don't think it's a situation we were not focusing on it. I think there's just an appropriate time to deal with things, and I think over the coming weeks we will go probably in more detail into the situation, because we obviously want to look into the market. I don't know the numbers that are involved in what we can use as a club yet. But we want to be proactive in the market, but equally we want to be proactive in making sure the good players who've got stay at the club and are rewarded as well. We try and be fair as we can with our contracts. Obviously we can't compete with everyone in the Premier League financially, but we're as fair as we can with our contracts, and we want players to feel settled here and want to be here. So we will look at varying contracts accordingly.
And just finally on the Ashley Barnes Twitter avatar. Avatar, yeah.
Right, I know the film, great film. What does the Avatar? Oh, does that not mean the film then? What does Avatar mean? What does that mean?
The in profile picture.
Media? Right, sorry. I did not know it was called that. I've learned something today.
There you go. He's become something of a sort of, I guess, a cult hero for many Burnley fans. Just how pleased have you been with his performances this season and last?
Well, I think his return for himself, first of all, I think he's improved. I think he had a quiet beginning to the season, but a very strong end, a bit like last season actually. But I think he continues to improve. He knows his way around the Premier League more and more. He's a very awkward customer to play against. No, I mean that in a positive way. He knows how to use his skills, and he uses them very, very well. And he can find a goal as well. No, he's been terrific for us, and he continues to be. He's a good character around the place. It's a very good investment. Circa 450,000, I think we paid for him coming out of Brighton all them years ago. I would suggest he's probably worth a little bit more than that now, and he's certainly worth more than that to us in here. But no, he's another good player who's come through a tough season and come through it in the right way. But there's a number here, I think.
He worries defenders, doesn't he, as well, with his... I saw that on Monday night.
I think the biggest thing for a centre forward, other than scoring goals, is to put doubt in centre halves. To put doubt in them before and during the game, where they know they're, how am I going to work this customer out? Well, I was a centre half, and you try and get a feel before you even play of what they offer and what you've got to look out for. And I think he's a mixed bag. He can operate in different ways and be a real handful, but he has got quality as well. And as you've seen this season, he can score goals.
Would you like to have marked him?
Sorry?
Would you have liked to have marked Barnsley?
Don't worry about that. I didn't worry about anyone. They used to worry about me, mate. Don't worry about that. I didn't worry about anyone. They used to worry about me.
I don't doubt it.
That was a joke. Just so because there'll be someone out there who goes, oh, look, him being clever is a joke. Trust me, I don't think Michael Owen, when I played against him, was worried about me. I don't think Janino was. I don't think Ravanelli was. Yeah, probably. Oh, he did. Outside the box, by the way. Outside the box as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Broadcast finished? Yes. Cameras off then, please.